rain, but you know what, Eliud is prepared for anything. I don't think that's going to deter him in any way. He probably isn't even recognizing that it's raining. There's some great fans trying to run along the course on the outside there, maybe trying to capture a picture or encourage, but I don't think he'll be lasting very long. Oh, there he goes, chanting.
What a surprise, he's disappearing off the picture. There is Eliud. We've been talking about all sorts of things, and of course we shouldn't forget that the man at the heart of this whole day, this whole several months, years of planning, is Eliud Kipchoge.
I'm noticing just a small gap from him to Matt Centrowitz, and I don't know, if it was, you know, him just giving a little space, or if he's kind of falling off a little bit. It'll be interesting to see. Hopefully he tucks right back in there with Matt.
So through 20 kilometres, 2:52, so just outside the desired 2:50 pace for a sub-2-hour marathon. But the green boxes show that those kilometres were within the target, and you can see netting out of all that, we are still 9 seconds inside sub-2-hour pace. 1:59.59, of course, is the target, maybe even better than that. And the next milestone, Ed, will be the halfway mark. And a reminder that in Monza 2 years ago, when he had his first attempt at breaking the sub-2-hour marathon, he went through in 59.57.
Yeah, so we're looking for anything in the high 59s is good. So let's see. I was noticing that gap as well to Matt Centrowitz, and I was thinking maybe that's just the turn. You know, sometimes they get a bit strung out, and I don't think we've seen them from the side really on the turn, but it seems to have closed up a little bit.
Yeah, he's closed back up to Matt Centrowitz. It did have me a little nervous, though, just watching him, only because, you know, the data shows that drafting, you conserve about 80% of energy as opposed to being out front and taking the brunt of the wind.
Ed, some people have criticised or maybe had a view about the role of the lead car there. We can see perhaps that's adding extra protection and adding to the aerodynamic thing. But essentially, as far as the experts have explained to us, the only reason that car is there is to project the laser pacer.
Right, so if you look at the aerodynamics, if you talk to Robbie Ketchell, who designed the aerodynamics, he said if it were up to me, I wouldn't have a car, which, again, is counterintuitive. You'd think a car would help, but you know what he wants is for these front 5 guys to be hit with as big an energy flow as possible, and the car doesn't help him do that. So yeah, again, it doesn't seem like that would be right, but all the computational flow dynamics that they've been doing have told them that, you know, the best results would be without a car.
We are now approaching the second half of this challenge. 21 kilometres completed. 21.1, of course, is the exact halfway point. 42 kilometres, 195 metres, or 26.2 miles, if you like your distances in the old imperial thing. And that's the scene here. It really is atmospheric. The crowd in the Prater, this green, clearing the conkers off the course. Of course, it's early autumn here in Europe, and we are on target and 11 seconds inside the sub-2-hour marathon pace. Of course, the first part of the race, the first half, is just clicking off the kilometres, really. And as we've seen, and as we say so many times at Shalane, it's really after 30 kilometres that the real business gets done.
Yeah, that's when the real running begins. I was trying to see if there was a half marathon split there yet.
I didn't see a split, so, but it...
We'll try to get that half marathon split, but I believe it was under 1 hour. But we'll get that to everyone soon.
Well, we are 11 seconds inside, and I guess it's all about conserving energy and getting that balance right between maybe having some credit in the bank, Shalane, in the first half of the race, so that if things do get a little bit tough in the latter stages, in that last 10K, that he's got somewhere to go. But getting that balance right, striking that balance is so important.
When it's such a finite race, and this is unknown territory, literally no human has tried to attempt this, so there's a lot of unknowns physiologically. What Eliud can handle. So we may see some fluctuations here and there. I do see a little bit of strain maybe on his face. He's kind of puffing his cheeks, maybe doing a little smiling. It means he's working hard. As This should be hard. But I can see some signs that I didn't see about 5K ago that he's working.
I think
he's already working.
Yeah, I think he's having a little difficult little patch.
Yeah.
Well, we saw a couple of weeks ago in Berlin an astonishing run by Kenenisa Bekele, who also had a difficult moment in that race. And at one point, he was over 100 meters behind the leader and really struggling. He said a bit of a hamstring problem or a calf problem, but remarkably came through that and stormed to within 2 seconds of Eliud Kipchoge's world record. Talk us through, Shalane, how you cope with those difficult moments, maybe a stitch or maybe a little tweak or a twinge somewhere.
You know, it's all about mentally tricking yourself. So, you know, what I've done in races is I'll try to just say, okay, pick out a lamppost or a tree and get to that point and kind of distract myself from what I'm physically feeling. The last K, I guess, was 2:52 we're getting. For the 22nd K and the 21st K, it was 2:48. But yeah, distraction. It's all about mental distraction to take yourself out of the moment in a way. And sometimes I'll refer back to my training back home and my successful moments where I pushed through the discomfort and the pain. I may look forward to just something as simple as getting to the next fluid station. I'll do all sorts of little tricks to get myself through the rough patches.
2:52, Ed, for the last K.
Yep.
How high would that figure need to be before you started getting seriously worried?
It just if you saw a few in a row. I think it's less the number itself than the pattern it suggests. So I think he's trying to settle himself down now. I've just been watching him very closely for the last couple of minutes. I think he had a rough patch, and I think maybe he's just coming through it. But let's see. The next couple of splits are going to be seriously interesting to watch, because that's going to tell us whether, you know, this is on or not.
Yeah, still maintaining a very, very healthy speed here. 13 miles an hour. Needs to be hitting 13.1, of course, to consistently get to sub-2 hour pace. 26.2 miles, the full distance in miles. And let's just home in on here on Eliud Kipchoge. This is a great shot for us to see the cadence and the way, the rhythm, the natural rhythm. But Shalane, just give us the expert view on what you're seeing here.
I mean, Eliud's legs are perfection. If you just look from the waist down, his heel to butt, that's what I look for, is a nice pickup of the legs, and his heel is coming right up to his butt. He's got nice pop off the road. When athletes get tired in the marathon, you'll just see that their foot tends to land a little bit heavier and wants to stay on the ground longer. We just got a nice glimpse of them run by so quickly. I feel like he's regrouped. He looks a lot better. His face is showing just a lot more relaxation.
Ed, the thumbs are out.
The thumbs are out. I think that's good news. So he's still brushing lint from his lapels. So he's, as far as I can tell, I think he's come through a little rough patch there.
Well, that's good news if indeed he has. We're waiting for the 16 to get ready. They will take over at 23 kilometres and take them through to 28 kilometres. And there we are. Eric Kiptanui, who's having a busy old morning, who's back on as the team captain.
I'll tell you what, that guy's in shape. He's having to do a serious workout this morning. He's going to sleep well tonight. Okay, so we've got Philip Ingebrigtsen, who's back on for his second stint. Victor Chumo from Kenya. And Paul Cherimo of the USA.
Kenyan-born, of course.
Kenyan-born. Ugandan. Ronald Musagala.
Who's had a fantastic season on the Diamond League circuit.
The extremely industrious Eric Kiptanui as the captain here. And then we've got the Ethiopian Solomon Barega and Koech as the other wingman. So these guys are now, you know, they know their roles. They're working pretty hard, especially the guys who are up for the second time. But for most of these guys will be the last time out. So you're not going to have to do. I think there's only one guy that's doing 3.
Yeah.
So if you've done 2, you've done a good stint.
Yeah. this is the 6th of 9 teams. There are 9 rotations, if you like. So far so good out here on the course. Let's go down to Radzi. Radzi's got one of the ardent supporters. We heard from him at the top of the programme. Radzi's with Chris Froome.
Absolutely, ardent supporter is the word. 4 times Tour de France champion, Olympic medalist as well. Chris, how much are you enjoying watching Eliud do this? It is phenomenal.
It is. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, just incredible to watch him. It looks like he's not even breathing. He's just gliding over the road. It's amazing to be here and to be part of this atmosphere, and hopefully we'll be witnessing history being made today.
And to that point, you're Kenyan born. What do you think it will mean to the people of Kenya for one of their own to make history?
It would be incredible. I mean, obviously Kenya's quite well known already for its marathon runners, but to have someone do something as monumental as this, it would be such a boost for all the athletes over there, and basically breaking barriers, showing that the impossible is doable, and especially coming from such humble beginnings, I think it would be inspiring a lot of people around the world.
Absolutely, and coming to yourself in terms of your performance, when you're, say, in the Tour de France, where does your mind go when it gets hard, when it hurts? Just like Eliud, I'm sure, will be experiencing now.
I'm sure he will be reaching that point very soon as well. I mean, this is what he does day in, day out, and it's what you almost prepare yourself for that hurt, for that feeling of sort of desperation that you don't have anything else left. So he'll be getting there, but he'll be accepting that and pushing through it. That's what it's all about, and I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure Eliud is probably the most capable human being on earth to deal with that. So let's see.
He's a special human being. Thanks for your time, Chris.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Chris Froome there, of course, 4 times Tour de France winner and very much part of the iNEOS family. So much support, of course, not just within athletics, track and field, from the running community as well, but outside the sport. We heard from saaben Ainsley at the top of the programme, Patrick Vieira, the former France captain, football captain, all absolutely 100% behind Eliud Kipchoge as well. So we've heard from Chris Froome. Let's go back to hearing from the pacemakers. We saw Matt Centrowitz, of course, who was the team captain from Team 5. He's with Crystal.
Matt, you know, there's expected to be about 20,000 fans throughout the day just being here for this moment. What was the energy like from them?
Oh, amazing. I mean, it's kind of like an indoor track feeling. It's so intimate. Everyone's like on top of you. And they must have been a couple feet away the whole way, all the way through the course. So it definitely helped carry you through each leg, for sure.
The 18 to 23 kilometer leg, what was most important from that leg for you as a captain?
You know, I think that we just kind of stay within the 250 kilometer pace that we're trying to run. It's so exciting out there. The energy is just through the roof. It's kind of start one step in the green line and get a little excited out there. But we're in the middle of the race, and we just want Kipchoge to feel as smooth and as easy as possible at this stage.
Matt, you're part of history, basically. How does that feel?
I mean, I still don't think it's set in yet, just kind of how honored I am to be here, be a part of this. I was just telling you earlier, throughout that whole 5 kilometers, I was just thinking, like, how much of an honor it is to be one step in front of Kipchoge, trying to take him through this world record attempt. So.
But there's a real side to it. So how are you feeling, actually? You come from Worlds, you're here, the physical aspects of it, just for that one leg.
I think I was hoping to just feel a little bit better out there, but I was able to do my job, to stay relaxed, and again, I can't just believe how he's running 8+ of these. It's just an incredible human being, a once-in-a-generation athlete, and I'm just honored to be a part of it.
And before we let you go, just one question about the challenges out there. Are there any challenges that we might not see, and did you feel any rain?
As a team captain, our biggest challenge was making sure we stayed within a line. on those roundabouts, and so we can make sure he runs the accurate 26.2. So the other guys in front of me and behind us were allowed to go outside those lines, but we had to stay inside of it. And then the second, I think, just kind of difficult thing out there that you might not see on the camera is just how loud it is. So we were supposed to communicate with each other, letting you know, slow down, pick it up, stay together, pack it up. When we're doing the exchanges, like captain in, captain out, and it's extremely hard to hear out there, even when you're like 2-3 feet away from someone. So you might have to tap a guy on the shoulder or kind of bump him out of the way if you're trying to make any kind of movement out there. But other than that, it's great.
Matt, thanks for your time. Enjoy your cool down.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Matt Centrowitz there, having done a terrific job, and you got the sense there of the pride and the honour that he feels in being part of this, what we hope will be an historic day. Lots of chatting. Just left of picture there, just out of picture is Valentine Trau, the athlete's manager there, handing now more drinks and more gels to Eliud if he wants them, and he does take something on board there. Communication, Shalane, so important throughout this process.
Yeah, I mean, he has such a tight-knit team. He has worked with the same coach throughout his career. Patrick has been by his side. He also has had the same massage therapist since 2002. Eliud is just a very loyal man, and he likes to build a team of people he can really trust around him.
We've talked a lot today, Ed, about his physical prowess. We've talked about him as a person. There is no doubting his physical shape and what a naturally talented athlete he is. What about his mental state? Because as far as we know, he doesn't actually have a formal mental coach.
No, I mean, he's very much his own coach, but you see how strong he is when he gets really challenged in races. You saw it at the London Marathon this year. He was really, really challenged by some very strong Ethiopian athletes, and you could see his strength of mind there in burning them off. He does read a lot, so he likes, Paulo Coelho, he likes to read self-help books. There are lots of kind of business style, management books in that camp. They do a lot of reading, those guys, when they're not watching Premiership football and so on. But they really try to improve themselves in that regard.
Yeah, he actually has in his home with his family a library full of books, and a few of the books that he's recommended I've actually read, because I said if Eliud thinks it helps him, I'm going to read it too. And so yeah, he's a great source of inspiration for many people in the fact that he educates himself and he's always self-improving. In fact, Patrick Sang, his coach, says, I think we're at the point in my career where I actually learn more from Eliud than I teach him.
Interesting here, just a final briefing for the next team of pacemakers who will take over at 28 kilometres. Going through final instructions, there is Tony Barden, who is part of the London Marathon team. That is metronomic pacemaking, 250s all across the board.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That's beautiful. So you want to talk about continuity as well. Eliud's mum taught Patrick Sang at primary school. So this line continues. They're from the same village, they're from the same little subset, the Nandi called the Talai. He has that real connection to his home through his sport.
And we should say as well that Eliud had not just a very basic and very humble start in life. He lost his father when he was very, very young indeed. And effectively was brought up and raised by his mum as a single parent, the youngest of 4 children. It was tough. Here's a guy who, like so many East Africans we've heard over the years, who used to run to school a couple of miles in the morning, back for lunch, back in the afternoon, back again, used to cycle to the local market, the nearest town, to take the milk from the farm to get it sold. This was a hard start in life.
Yeah, I don't think he would actually make too much of that because of the type of person that he is. But yeah, these guys, who lead the world in distance running from Kenya, a lot of them come from subsistence farming backgrounds, and a lot of them have a very rough start in life. And I think Haile once said to me, "You think you can be a good runner from a good family?" He felt like that kind of background fertilized your talent, rather than being a hindrance. He felt like it was important for a runner to somehow, to have some challenges to overcome in their early life.
Yeah, I believe there's a callousing, and probably because of his upbringing, he looks at running as a joy. It doesn't seem like a chore to him. he's had and experienced harder things in life, so running 26.2 miles is not so challenging when you've been through other things.
And his mantra, very simply, hard work, humility and discipline. And the routine that we have tried to bring across to you that Ed was describing is very much a monastic lifestyle, isn't it, Ed? It's very much run, eat, sleep and repeat again and repeat again.
Yeah, he just keeps on doing the same thing. There's no magic. There really is no silver bullet to getting as fast and as fit. I mean, you have to have the talent, but
yes,
you have to keep on doing the same things.
That's the mantra for all marathoners: run, eat, sleep, repeat. And that's what really breeds and produces the best results if you want to be a great marathoner and a great distance runner.
I think there was a slight trip there. Was there a trip?
Yes. I just saw Eliud kind of a little trip up in that transition.
And they've lost their...
A little rocky.
Yeah, that was a little bit ragged. You have to say that the transitions from one team to the next, they're just coming through in front of our commentary position yet again, from left to right as we look out from our commentary position here. And once again, the speed, quite breathtaking. And I can't stress enough, the crowd out on the course is absolutely phenomenal. And let's once again, Shalane, contrast that to the experiment in Monza, where there was no crowd at all. It was special invitees only, and there was simply no atmosphere.
Yeah, there was only atmosphere on the final straightaway and the back side of the track. There was no one. I mean, you could literally hear crickets, you could hear breathing, you could hear your feet on the road. I think we've all know that Eliud thrives off of an environment and the support and the fans cheering. He said when he broke the world record in Berlin that when he was running alone the last 17K, that it really was the fans cheering that was music to his ears, and that what's helped him break that record. So this is an essential, if we're talking about baking our cake, an essential ingredient to his success today, because I'm nervous right now because I know what the last 40 minutes of a marathon is going to feel like. Each 10-minute chunk is going to get harder and harder, and he's going to start relying on the environment around him.
We're now into Team 7 there. There is the lineup for Team 7 with Brett Robinson, the Australian, the latest captain to take over. We've got Jakob Ingebrigtsen as well, fresh from the World Championships in Doha. We have Stuart McSwain as well. And again, an international feel in this pacemaking team. 41 in total, 6 reserves, 5 teams of 7, and they're doing a sterling job, apart from perhaps that one transition we saw where there was a slight trip of Eliud Kipchoge, which would certainly not have been in the planning and in the preparation for this, but he seems to have recovered very well. We've got 15 Kenyans, 7 Americans, 6 Ugandans, we've got Australians, Norwegians, Ethiopians, and 1 Japanese pacemaker. It really is a truly international feel. 1 hour 20 in. Let's go back to our little cake metaphor. It's in the oven. It's been in the oven for 1 hour and 20. How's it looking? How's the cooking going?
Well, I got nervous there for a little bit when Eliud started to look like he was falling off pace from Matt Centrowitz, and we were in the roundabout section, and I felt like I saw some strain on his face, so I was definitely a little nervous, but I feel like he's regrouped. He's regained his composure. I feel like every time he gets, 10 minutes further into the race, he's going to start to build some adrenaline and start to get excited. It's going to hurt. He's going to have to lean into it. But I feel like he's setting himself up for some history right now.
Well, Jakob Ingebrigtsen is one, of course, of the 3 Ingebrigtsen brothers, this extraordinary dynasty of runners from Norway. Let's catch up with one of his brothers. Philip Ingebrigtsen is with Crystal.
Philip, I mean, you tried to double in Doha at the World Champs, but you doubled here today. What was it like across both legs?
It was a bit easier to do the double here, but it was really fun. We've been practicing the last couple of days and tried to give some messages and try to talk to each other during the race, but the crowd is so loud that you couldn't hear anything. So you just had to trust your teammates and help Kipchoge as good as we could. And I think it was smooth. So it was fun to experience the pace and get a feeling of what goes into breaking 2-hour marathon. It's an incredible feat if you can do it. So it's fast.
Let's talk about the pace. I mean, fairly even splits. What of the consistency when it comes to Eliud?
Yeah, I think that's that's the way to go here. To go out hard, but to be able to maintain the pace. And if you're strong in the finish, you can go even faster. But it's a thin line between an incredible race and like hitting the wall. So you need to stay right at the sweet spot, and that's the thing he's been practicing for many years. He's an experienced runner, and hopefully he can pull it together today.
Phil, how will this impact you as an athlete in your own career?
I was thinking about it while running. It's the main motivation behind like my running is to see how fast I can be for different disciplines, like different events. So right now it's the 1500, and maybe in a couple of years my main focus will be the 5K, and who knows, in 15 years it will be the marathon. So it's cool to try road races and get a feeling of like the audience, like the crowd is really close. So that's really fun.
Well, now your hard work is done. You can sit back and relax like the rest of us and wait for that moment.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting, and hopefully we can do it. Like after Doha, my season was done, so this is my holiday, and I'm here running. So I almost like running a lot.
Good life choices. Thanks, Philip.
Thanks.
Philip Ingebrigtsen there, sounding and looking good as Crystal was saying his job is done. Now then, we saw just a few minutes ago the last splits for the last few K, 250s all the way round. And Shalane, you've been looking at the positioning on the road, on the Hauptallee of Eliud Kipchoge, and signs that actually he's feeling much better.
Yeah, so as an athlete, when I'm getting antsy and I want to run faster, I will run up on the edge and the shoulder of my pacer, and it looks like he was running up on the edge of Brett Robinson there, not running directly drafting behind him. Instead, he's on the shoulder, which to me means he's kind of like pushing. And that last K is actually showcasing it is a little faster. They ran a 2:48 last K, so 2 seconds faster than projected.
I was just wondering about this. You know, sometimes he's off on one side, and I wonder whether that's to do with what they've been told about what little wind there is, where it's coming from. So now we see what's kind of 12 seconds inside target time.
And that's the highest it's been in the race so far.
Yeah, projected 1:59.47.
But isn't it amazing how much better he looks now than he did 15 minutes ago?
We can only speculate. We don't know how he was feeling. If he did go through a bit of a moment, Shalane, what might that have been?
You know, it could be something as simple as just his drink not settling well in his stomach. And, you know, I've had circumstances in which the fluids are kind of coming up. They're not settling well in the stomach. And it could be something as simple as that. It seemed really early on to see him kind of straining. So I'm guessing it was maybe a fluid issue.
This is the quickest they've been running at any stage during the whole challenge, 13.3 miles an hour. And this side-on shot, let's just go to this again, because we see in all its glory, Shalane, the cadence and the natural running style of Eliud Kipchoge.
He's just like the world, but he stands out to me. He just has the absolutely efficient, perfect form for a marathoner.
You see the top half of his body, it's like a rifle target. You know, he stays so still, and his legs are doing this work, and then, you know.
And his core is so strong and straight, all momentum. If you see, they're running ahead of the green line, it seems. So it seems like they're feeling good.
This is a critical moment coming up. They're approaching the 30-kilometer mark, and the time we're looking out for here is 1:25.18. They're comfortably inside that at the moment. 1:25.18, so in about 16 seconds' time, would be sub 2 hour marathon pace. And in Monza, he went through in 1:25.20. More fans. It's the same guy again. He's having his moment in the sun there, in the grey on the left of picture. He wants to be a part of history today, and who can blame him? We all do. We're hoping that Eliud Kipchoge will be making history today. 30 kilometers have been completed, and let's just go back to Monza just as a little guide, because in Monza he was 2 seconds outside of sub 2 hour marathon pace.
Yeah, he's doing fantastically well. I saw a little grimace there, so you know, obviously it's hurting. It would hurt doing this.
Be expected.
12K to go then. This is where the critical stage of the race starts. If we were in normal marathon conditions and this was a race with lots of other competitors, they often say that the racing starts at 30 kilometers. Normally, somebody takes the handbrake off at 30K.
Yeah, that is traditionally when I've been in major championships. It's 30K, gloves are thrown down to the road, hats are off. Now it's the real fighting begins, and Eliud doesn't have competitors to be fighting against, but his race is against the clock today in a race towards history.
He has to be thinking right now, and I'm sure this is a version of what he's thinking. If not now, when? Like, this is my last chance. I've run 30 kilometers, 12 to go. Like, what other opportunities are you looking for? This is my shot. So I think he has to somehow get himself in that frame of mind, which I'm sure he does.
Have both of you in your own mind got no doubt that if he's not successful today, God forbid, that he wouldn't come back and have another go?
I think this is it.
I believe this is it. I think he's putting everything he has into this moment, and I think that kind of pressure actually will bode well, because he's going to, like you said, today's the day, I'm going to do it. There's no other opportunity. There's no second chances. I've done all this work. Everyone's done all this work. Now it's time to execute. So why not now? Why not me today?
And if he does do it, that's another thing ticked off. He will go into history. It will be his Neil Armstrong moment, and we hope that in the next, just over half an hour, we can bring him home to do exactly that. Where then from there? Does Tokyo feature for next year? For
Absolutely. So Ababy Bakila, who was the first black African to win a gold medal, won the marathon in 1960 and in 1964, doubled. Eliud wants to do that. So he won in Rio. He wants to win in Tokyo. So if he had let's just say he does this and he does the Olympic double, that would really make him unassailable, I think.
We've just detected perhaps the slightest smile stroke grimace on the face of Eliud Kipchoge. He's just behind Jakob Ingebrigtsen at the moment, and we were mentioning earlier on in commentary that when the smile appears, Shalane, that normally suggests that he's hurting.
Yeah, that's the classic Eliud. When he is leaning into that hurt, he uses it as a way to manage the pain and to distract himself. But yep, there we go. I just saw a smile. If I were a competitor and I saw someone smiling, I would be very intimidated.
Ed, though, you think that part of the grimace and the smile is actually to try and counterintuitively relax himself, relax the shoulders?
I think he's talked about it. He talked about it after Monza. He said, I smile when it's hurting. And that's, it's something that if you try, it sounds goofy when you try it when you're running, but I think it actually does work. Like if you make yourself smile.
I believe Eliud. He's the world record holder. If he says it works, you're going to see a lot more people out in road races across the world smiling, maybe.
Do you know what? I just hope that, I hope that he can maintain that rhythm, because he does look very good still.
Yeah, physically everything else is clicking. Like I said, his feet are popping off the ground. They're like little sewing needle, up and down, up and down, up and down.
You see how he's off to one side again a little bit here, and you wonder.
Yeah, sometimes, another tactic that I've also seen is when athletes are hurting, they tend to shift around the road. It's like they're uncomfortable and they're trying to find a comfortable spot. Sometimes if there's, the athlete in front of you, the back kick is maybe just coming up a little too close, so he just wants to run off the side.
Approaching 1 hour 30, 1.5 hours about to click round on the clock. We are into the final quarter of this race. We have just under 30 minutes to try and get Eliud Kipchoge into the history books here in Vienna on this extraordinary Saturday morning. Wow. Take us into the mind, Ed, of what he must be thinking now.
I have absolutely no idea.
What might he be thinking? Goodness me.
Don't you wish that there were like thought bubbles? I've thought this forever. I wish we could get into the mindset of the athletes. I wish there were thought bubbles that would pop up. I find that in this stage of the race, I have a mix of emotions. 1 minute, I'm thinking, this is terrible, it's not going to go well. And then the next minute, I'm thinking, I've got this, I'm a rock star, I can do anything. So it's really, I think, in these moments, kind of fluctuating back and forth.
I think, he's someone who is, quite a relaxed and Zen-like person. You don't have any, he's putting himself through something really, really extraordinary here, and he will be emotional. There is, thoughts bubble up, thoughts that, you think you suppressed and bad demons sit on one shoulder and good demons, good angels sit on the other. So
I can tell you, he has practiced this in his mind over and over the last 3 months. As soon as he committed to this proposition and to this challenge, in training, he has visualized these tough moments, and he's pushed through in training and said, imagine you're on the streets of Vienna. This is the crucial moment. This is when you have to execute and push through the pain. So he has practiced this over and over. And I find that actually when I'm in races, in a major marathon, I take myself out of the streets of that major city and I go back to the streets of Portland, wherever I'm training, and I visualize myself back in my training grounds, in my comfort zone, with my teammates, with my coach. And it brings this familiarity and it doesn't become this overwhelming proposition.
He just had a little conversation with Valentine Trial, his manager. That tells you something in itself.
Yeah.
He just had a little back and forth. If he was really, really hurting badly, I think that would be impossible. So
we are still 10 seconds inside the target. A couple of 252s there, just to break up the green boxes. Again, if you're just joining us, the green box that we've been showing you, kilometre by kilometre, means that he is on target for that kilometre. 2 minutes 50 for the kilometre is the target pace that we need, and that is represented by that green laser. That is sub-2-hour marathon pace, and that is the guide which is provided by the laser pacer car. There's the green laser as again the runners go in front of our commentary position. There won't be many more times we see them pass and flash in front of our commentary position before the now and the end of the race. We're into the last half an hour, and the next team, here we go, the next team, this is team number 8. Eliud Kipchoge is back in action once again, and we will see Brett Robinson peel away. And this is the penultimate team, Shalane, who have got duties between 33 and 38 kilometres.
This is a team that's going to really need to rally Eliud if he's hurting. I think there's going to be some communicating, them rallying him, talking to him, if he can hear it through the crowd. But, these pacemakers are so intent on helping him and doing whatever they can.
Yeah, you see, he actually gets a little lift when he gets a new team. So you sometimes see just a couple of seconds come off a split when he gets a new team. And that's all.
Choge is one of that team, one of his lifelong friends, one of his closest friends.
Yeah, and you actually saw Augustin, I think, just saying a couple of words to him. So I don't know whether Eliud heard it, but just when they had a changeover, you saw him saying something there.
And Augustin will be here for the remainder of the race. He is closing out with Eliud, and I feel like that's by design.
Well, this is all about Eliud Kipchoge, of course, and what a moment. We've been talking about what might be going through his mind. One of the things he might be thinking about is his wife and family. Grace, his wife, who has never seen him race live in the flesh before, well, she is now, and she's with Radzi.
She is indeed. Grace, I see you watching your husband up on the screen. What goes through your head when you see him run?
I'm kind of nervous, but I'm also excited that he has tried to break the 2-hour barrier of marathon. I'm really excited. I'm happy for him. Yeah.
You've also brought your 3 children along as well. How are they enjoying it?
They are very excited. They have never been to a race where their dad runs. Yeah, it's their first time. Yeah.
So it's a special occasion for all 5 of you. But what would it mean, do you think, for Kenya if Eliud were to break this 2-hour barrier?
Well, Kenyans are really waiting and are very excited for Eliud to do what no human has ever done. Yeah, they're really waiting.
Well, it's an absolute joy talking to you. I won't take your eyes off the screen any longer because I know you want to get out there and support your husband. I do have to also say that Grace would normally do things in front of the camera, so we're very grateful that you've come to speak to us now. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed, Grace. Great to see her here. What a moment and what pride she must be feeling. And Radzi mentioned her 3 children and Eliud's 3 children, Lynn, Griffin and Jordan. They're all here today as well. The ignition keys of his life, as Eliud refers to them. It's a lovely image, and one of several memorable lines. We talked about the self-help books that he likes to read. He devours them, and actually, in all seriousness, it would be very easy for some of these lines to sound rather cheesy and rather manufactured, but when they come out of the mouth of Eliud Kipchoge, they sound sincere, and he always measures the importance of each word very carefully.
Yeah, he is very selective in his words, and in a way, it's like prophetic, the way he delivers them, and he doesn't waste any words. And I think everyone really appreciates what comes out of his mouth because it holds such importance every time he talks.
We are into the penultimate team of pacemakers. One man who's done a sterling job today, Stanley Kibeni from Kenya. He was part of Team 7, and he's with Crystal.
Stanley, so great to grab you right here at a crucial part in this race. Can you just give us a sense of, before it all started, what was the camaraderie like? What was it like in the tent?
It was really emotional. We look at Eliud's eyes on the tent on the screen, and you look at the man, he's very straightforward. You know, it's just in his mind you can tell that he's saying, yeah, I'm going to make history today. And he's happy that, you know, all of these people are all over here to witness the history and the rest of the world.
Goosebump moment, it definitely sounds like. But Stanley, from an African perspective and what this means for the continent of Africa if it is attained.
This means a lot, not only the continent of Africa, but the world at large. Eliud will be the first human to run under 2 hours, and this is so inspiring, not only to the runners all over the world, but to everybody that no human is limited. You can go to your goals as much as you have that energy and that strong mind that you want to do whatever you want to do. So it's not about running, it's about inspiring the world and everybody else in the world that everything is possible and nothing is limited for you.
You're sounding confident.
I sound confident, and I feel confident that this will happen today. I believe in Eliud 100%. I believe in the team that we have. I believe in the sponsor that, you know, sponsored this iNEOS. We really believe in what's happening over here because we've been here for a long time, just getting ready for this.
What of the tradition of distance running in Africa, how it gave you your base and gives Eliud his?
In Africa, running started to be something that's not only sport, but everything in our lives. We do it for sports, but again, we do it for living. Running has earned me a scholarship. I went to the United States to study in the University of Arkansas, get my degree, and I was happy because I would have never been able to pay for my school fees. School fees in the United States is about $50,000 a year, so I couldn't afford that, but they give me free education through my running, and now I'm still going professional with Nike. So it's been quite a journey, but a very incredible journey. I love it.
Thank you for being part of this journey. Great chatting to you, Stanley.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Stanley Kibeni there as they go around the Lusthaus one more time. That's the smaller of the two roundabouts. We are approaching 35 kilometers. We've got, what, just over 20 minutes of running to get Eliud Kipchoge home over the finish line inside the 2-hour mark. Just to stress, this has never been done before. No, it won't be a world record, but the whole point of this exercise, if you're just joining us, was not to break world records. He's already got the world record. This was stretching the limits. What is the limit of human endeavor? And as the hashtag we've been using said, and as Eliud said so eloquently, no human is limited. He wants to do something that has never been done before. We've had a man on the moon. We've had Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile 65 years ago. We've had Edmund Hillary on Everest all those years ago. This would be, along the same lines, this will be an achievement of that magnitude. No human is limited, and we are now, Ed, into the last 20 minutes of this being a reality.
I'm just watching his face here, and it is absolutely fascinating. His eyes are like dinner plates. He's having to talk himself through this. He's telling himself that he's got it, you know, he's smiling a lot. It is like it's like a man who's told himself to dismiss what his body is telling him.
Yeah.
His body is saying, stop.
He's a man possessed. But, you know, he's trying to become a pioneer and a trailblazer right now. And It's a threshold so bold and inconceivable, yet here we stand at the doorstep with the notion that the human spirit can take us across it. And I believe that in Monza, him knowing that he was only 26 seconds away from breaking the barrier, that gave him confidence to then go attack the world record in Berlin, where he ran 2:01:39. And those two performances, I think, is what catapulting him forward today and making him have so much self-belief that he's convinced almost everyone else in the world that he can do it too. And I think this is a huge moment.
Your whole career for 20 minutes.
Absolutely right. It's right here. Here are the final team of pacemakers, team number 9. They will take them home from 38 kilometers right through to the finish. And the captain, of course, he was the captain in the first team. It's Bernard Lagat, and how fitting that the 44-year-old, the oldest pacemaker in the team, the most experienced and a dear, dear friend of Eliud, should be the captain on the final leg.
Bernard and Eliud have actually raced each other a number of times, and the experience the two of them have. They may not be the youngest athletes out on the road, but their experience is what makes the difference.
Wow, I think we just need to take a pause, don't we, and just breathe.
I've just edged myself up closer on my seat. The butterflies are really starting to accumulate right now.
And we are on the finish line here. We're hoping to call Eliud home and make a little bit of history here. I can tell you that the crowds at the finish line are 12, 15, 20 deep. We have a posse of Kenyans who are making an absolute racket. We've got Kenyan flags all over the place. The atmosphere is absolutely electric, and yet again, one of the contrasts between the experience in Monza a couple of years ago, and I think you make the point very well, Shalane, that mentally he said he didn't know when he went into that Monza experiment how close he would get to the 2-hour mark. He had no idea at all. Now he knows, and you just sense, as Ed was describing, that he knows in his heart of hearts that he can do this.
Yeah, he knows that this is going to open up the floodgates of the future as to what is possible. And, you know, sometimes you can't be what you can't see. So he's going to be an example for all future athletes, but not just athletes. His message is to the world of, you know, what are you possible, you know, what are you capable of doing, and what is your possible best self?
I feel very nervous right now because anyone who's ever run a marathon will know that the last few miles, anything can happen and the wheels can come off. He looks really good. He's hurting. You know, you're just hoping that he's got this.
10 seconds is the margin for error here. I just wonder, as we're, 6 kilometers from the end here, both of you, once he gets into that final kilometer, once he can physically see the finish line with his naked eye, could you argue that actually it's the next couple or 2 or 3 kilometers that are the most crucial?
Yeah, I believe the next, oh my gosh, look at the fans, that's incredible. I believe that the next few Ks are really crucial, because once you can see the finish line and taste it, it's like they say like a horse running to the barn. You know, and I'll be curious to see as to whether the pacers are going to stay on to the very end. When will they peel off? If he's feeling good enough, is he going to communicate that? I'm really curious to see how it unravels in the last K.
Yes, in Monza, you may remember, if you were watching that 2 years ago, pacemakers peeled away at 42 kilometers to give the full streets and the full final couple of 100 meters to Eliud alone. We've got 2 or 3 different scenarios that have been painstakingly put together, depending and rehearsed endlessly and repeated, so that nothing has been left to chance. And so it depends very much on where we are against the clock as the final team take over at 38 kilometers, led by Captain Lagat. There he is, itching to go. Bernard Lagat, a 5-time Olympian, 44 years old, 13 world and Olympic medals to his name, and he is going to slot into place and, Shalane, try and bring Eliud home.
This is the moment when you're in a track race and you go ding, 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 last lap. This is what we're going into. That was the ding, 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 the last lap. You know, Eliud said last night, I don't know where the limits are, but I'd like to go there.
Well, the sound is deafening here. I hope you're getting a sense of that from our wonderful pictures back home. There we are. We've got fans from all over the world. Remember, a lot of people have traveled from Kenya to be here, the 8,500 kilometers. We bumped into some people from Utah yesterday. They'd made the trip. They'd flown overnight, and they were there just so excited to be here.
Yes, we bumped into so many amazing fans yesterday, but specifically a family from Utah that flew all the way here. It was a mother and two sons, and I said, you know, why are you here? And they said, we love Eliud, and we love marathoning, and we are here to support Eliud.
There are two things going through my mind right now, which are, firstly, we should enjoy just watching this guy run, because we're not going to get maybe too many more chances to see him like this. And the second of all is, I hope that he's enjoying it. You know, even though he's in this tumult of exertion, even though he must be hurting so much, you really hope that he's soaking this in some way.
The next 15 minutes of this man's life, and indeed the pacemakers as well, but particularly Eliud Kipchoge, could be life-defining, and that is not overstating it. This is going to be, if he does it, an achievement off the scale. It's never been done before, and I think it transcends running. Sport, and it really truly pushes the boundaries as we've never seen before.
I think, you know, the sport of marathon running is watched by not that many people. If he does this, everyone will know one marathon runner at least. You know, they'll know the guy that broke 2 hours in the marathon.
And they'll know him as Eliud, yes.
It's metronomic again, isn't it? The pacemakers have done an absolutely outstanding job. From memory, correct me both of you if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've had a kilometre outside 2:52. I think that's the slowest we've had.
Correct. 52 has been the slowest.
And we've had a 2:48 as the quickest.
Yeah, so they've been really within a tiny window. I mean, we've been...
That's incredible. If you really think about it, that is incredible pacing.
Yeah, and the position on the road as well, just to remind you, they have to stay within those dotted orange lines. Certainly, Eliud does as well. We've got the laser, the green laser, which is giving them the exact pace, and they've been bang on the money. And to do all of that whilst running in excess of 13 miles an hour for as long as they've been running is truly sensational.
Yeah, this is the work, you see, that the whole team have done. So they've been right on pace all the way through, but they've had this system which they've adhered to, which is this, you know, the lasers and the formation, and it's worked a treat.
Wherever you're watching in the world, whatever your time zone, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening or the middle of the night, we hope you're enjoying. We're on the verge of history here, folks. We cannot overstate this. And Valentin Trouw, the athlete manager, is there still on his bicycle. We've got Hugh Jones just and smiling as
smiling.
well.
Yes.
Hugh Jones there, who's a former London Marathon winner and the course measurer for marathons all over the world. He's also on his bicycle there enjoying the ride.
I think people think this is going to happen now. You can see from the support team, there's still a little bit of nervousness on Valentin's face, but you can see from the support team that they think this is going to happen.
Well, let's hear from one of the fantastic pacemakers who've done their job. Patrick Tiernan was part of the last team that were out there, and he's been speaking to Crystal.
Patrick, we are on the threshold.
Yeah, I mean, it's unreal. I mean, he's on pace and he's killing it, so we're all rooting for him here.
What does the "No human is limited" motto of this whole challenge mean to you?
I mean, he's a human who lives by that motto. I mean, 5 years ago, the sub-2 hour marathon wasn't even considered possible, and now you've got a guy who's out here and he's cruising around looking like he's not even breathing doing it. So, you know, the motto it's perfectly suited for this event. You know, it's something that we all 40 of us want to try and strive for once we get out of here.
And he's going to do it?
Yeah. We'll knock on wood, but yeah, no, he's looking great. I mean, he's cruising through it, so yeah.
Thanks for chatting to us, Patrick. Let's keep our eyes set.
Patrick there, Patrick Tiernan, and we've got on the finish line here, we've got people who've climbed into trees. We've got one or two people who are standing on top of the portaloos, the portable toilets, would you believe it? Everybody is craning their necks. Everybody wants the best possible view here on the Hauptallee. We're standing by for major sporting history here, and Ed, we're into the last 10 minutes. We've got 10 minutes to bring him home.
Well, I'm starting to feel like those men in bowler hats who watch Roger Bannister. You know, they had that privilege of watching that great moment at Iffley Road, and if everything goes well for the next 10 minutes, and I'm touching some wood here, I think this looks now like it's going to happen. You know, you'd have to drop quite a lot of pace over these few Ks to lose it from here. It can happen, but you can see there's more relaxation on the faces of the people around Eliud, and you can see on his face he's still looking pretty relaxed. I mean, I'm sure he's hurting, but he looks quite good.
Yeah, I'm sure he's realizing he has 9 minutes of running, and you know, you tell yourself, I can do anything for 9 minutes. Right in front of us, we are watching as all the pacers gather on the other side of the road to cheer on Eliud, and I believe there'll be hopefully something to celebrate here soon.
Julian Wanders has, sensibly put on a huge puffer jacket because he's freezing cold. They're all jumping around, they're taking selfies. The whole team are now assembling because they think it's going to happen.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but my heart, I can feel it pounding in my shirt this morning, and we are just sitting here watching and in anticipation, licking our lips here. 1:50 on the clock, and we have, what, exactly 9 minutes to bring him home. What an opportunity here. And these final pacemakers with Bernard Lagat, I think it's so fitting that Bernard Lagat is the team captain for this final leg.
Yeah, from the same area where Eliud grew up, friends forever, was a part of the last attempt. You know, the camaraderie on that last attempt was massive, even though, he just missed the 2 hours. I think it's a gorgeous thing that Bernard Lagat's in this final group.
Well, 40 kilometres will be the last major K kilometre to reach the Mars landmark, and that will be 1:53.44 is the target. And let's just remind ourselves that actually by this stage in Monza he was already starting to struggle, and he was already he already knew that he was not going to achieve what he wanted to achieve.
He's in much better shape today. You can tell physically, you can just tell in the cadence of his running, you can tell by the support staff and a few smiles that are breaking through. I feel like the pacers feel like they know it's going to happen. He's in a much better place today than he was in Monza 2 years ago.
We were at 10 seconds inside. We've just dipped to 9. I don't want to worry you folks at home, but we just need to keep an eye on that clock because we are ticking ever closer. But the cadence looks good, doesn't it? The shoulders look relaxed.
Yeah, but you see the thumbs have gone in. He's not feeling as good. He hasn't got very far to go. I mean, he has every right not to feel good. I wouldn't feel good. But he still looks amazing, all things considering. And, you know, in Monza, when it started to drift, he couldn't pull it back, and who could? You know, once those splits start to drift, you're finished.
It's almost like you have a rope tied to these pacers, and once that rope is broken, it is so hard to get back on the pack. And the fact is, he's not allowing the rope to swing too far off of his pacers. So the rope is not broken. He's attached to this pack, and he's going to just enjoy the ride to the finish.
Communication still taking place between Valentin on the left of picture there on the bicycle. He's giving instructions out. We just saw Eliud just lift his shirt momentarily just to wipe his nose. Needs to make sure everything is absolutely on point. Let's just enjoy these pictures. I think Ed has said, let's just enjoy history unfolding here before our very eyes. Well, we've had 7 successive 2:50s, 2 minutes 50 for a kilometre. And anybody who's thinking about going out for their Saturday run, Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, maybe even doing a park run of 5 kilometres, Well, just watch and learn. This is the master at work here. Just over 2 kilometers to go.
This is something everyone can understand. It's a neat number. It's this unbroken barrier. You know, many times when you watch a race, oh, look at those splits. They're so even. Many times when you watch a race, it's not immediately obvious what's happening. In this, you know what's happening. This guy has to run under 2 hours, and it looks like he's bang on track to do that.
Eliud just took his last swig of a water bottle, and notice he didn't really drink much, but there's this, it's been proven in science that just squishing the fluids around in your mouth gives you a surge of energy and as if like you're just consuming much. But he didn't really drink that much, but that was his last water bottle, I assume.
Well, they are comfortably on the last lap here, the last loop of this 9.6 kilometer loop, and he's smiling again. Now, people can smile for different reasons, mostly because they're happy. We've said that Eliud often smiles when it's really hurting. At what point does that smile, Shalane, become a realization that he's going to do this?
I would only assume is when the finish line is in sight. That's the only reason to smile, because the marathon is an unknown beast and you never know. You can never get too confident. So even though he may be feeling good or not so good, you can never swing in emotion too strongly either way. But usually the smiling right now, I think, is because he's hurting, but hopefully there'll be a mixed smile of pain and pleasure at the finish.
Just over 4 minutes to go, and the pacemakers we are expecting to peel off and let him have the Hauptallee to himself to enjoy the moment, an historic moment as we click ever closer to the magic figure of 1:59.59. As things stand, he will be comfortably inside 2 hours. Ed, how are you feeling from here?
I feel like a bundle of nerves. Who thought they were going to see this in 2019? We haven't seen it yet, but who thought that this was possible in 2019? Yes, there are some, parts of this which are, artificial in terms of the pacemakers, whatever. It's not a race, but who thought you'd see someone run sub-2 in 2019? It is beyond the imagination.
When the conversation first started for the sub-2 effort, I said, no way in my lifetime will I witness a sub-2 hour marathon. I truly did not believe I would be able to witness something like this.
The pace car will be peeling away at 41 kilometers, and then it'll be down to the pacemakers themselves to bring Eliud home, and all being well, they will then peel off as well and leave Eliud to run home the final few hundred meters. 1.2 kilometers to go. He is almost there. He has one hand on history here in Vienna. There's Grace, his wife, looking on. She's never seen him race before in the flesh, remember. What a moment for her. What a moment for the children. The pace car has gone. We've lost the laser. It's now all down to Eliud and the pacemaker.
The gloves are off.
He's getting quicker.
He's racing right now. This is racing.
Well, this is true racing. Shalane knows what this feels like through the streets of Central Park in New York, whether it's in Berlin or London. But today is all about Vienna. Today is all about Eliud Kipchoge. We're down to the last couple of minutes to bring him home. Ed, some final thoughts from you.
I'm overjoyed that particularly this man has got to do this. It's not just the barrier being broken, it's something that has existed in this person's head for so long, and it's so gratifying to watch him achieve that.
He's almost there. He can see the finish line. That's the view from Eliud Kipchoge. You can see the finish line where we are looming into view. 1:57 and approaching 1:58. I think we can say with some certainty
There
now
he goes.
that he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's
right
going.
there. He's telling him to move away.
Come on, he says. Come on, this is it. Shalane, a final thought from you.
Incredible. Eliud's performance is such a gift to the world. His running is a gift to all of us. I feel so blessed to be here today. I feel like I hope everyone can hear me smiling through this microphone right now. I cannot stop smiling.
500 meters to go. He has the Hauptallee to himself. All the pacemakers have let him go. As Ed said, he is sprinting into the history books here. They're cheering him on. 400 meters to go. Let's bring him home. This is history unfolding on the streets of Vienna this morning. It's a Saturday run like we've never seen before. Listen at the noise. The crowd getting right behind him. Goodness me, 300 meters to go. He can see the finish line here. Neil Armstrong we had on the moon in 1969. We had Roger Bannister, the 4-minute mile 65 years ago. Edmund Hillary, the first man to climb Everest in 1953. We have 1 minute to go. Eliud Kipchoge is on his way here.
It's not going to be a minute.
This humble farmer who used to run 2 miles to school every day and back. He used to go to the nearest town on his bike to sell milk at the local market. And now, through hard work and discipline, he's pointing. Come on, he says. Eliud Kipchoge has the hand of history on his shoulder. He has less than 200 meters to go. Eliud Kipchoge, let's keep an eye on the clock. Into the final 20 seconds. Eliud Kipchoge. On his shoulder. 140, the unofficial time.
There's his wife.
Eliud Kipchoge storms into the history books in Vienna. 1:59:40, the unofficial time. The first man to run a marathon in under 2 hours. One final lung-busting stride for Kipchoge. One giant leap for human endeavor. And you know, Kipchoge was right. No human is limited. And now he can celebrate. He has done it. And to Roger Bannister, Neil Armstrong, Edmund Hillary, we can now add the name of Eliud Kipchoge. Shalane, sum it up for us.
I would like to just thank Eliud for sharing his gift with the world, with us today in the City of Dreams. He created an absolute masterpiece that will never be forgotten.
Ed.
That was absolutely beautiful. That last kilometre was absolutely beautiful, with his teammates cheering him on. He's now been held aloft by all of his teammates. There's thousands of people with cameras who want to hug him. There's a Kenyan flag. It's pandemonium at the finish line. He's gone crazy. You wouldn't have thought he'd just run a marathon.
No, he looks phenomenal. There are people crying in the crowd.
Well, there was a very carefully choreographed plan for the finish, but that's completely been ripped up and thrown out of the window because Eliud Kipchoge is on. He's still got energy. How on earth do you have the energy to run like this after running at 13 miles an hour for 2 hours? There you can see the unofficial time. We may take a minute or two to make that the official time, but 1:59:40.2 is the unofficial time. Comfortably inside 2 hours. And the Olympic champion, the world record holder, the greatest marathon runner the world has ever seen, is now in the history books. And they are going berserk right in front of our commentary position here.
We could just see his physio, his long-time physio.
Crying, wiping tears away.
He is a tough guy who hurts people for a living. He puts his thumbs deep in their muscles and he is weeping in front of our commentary box there.
I want
There
to
is
give
Grace,
everyone a
there
hug.
is his wife. What on earth must she be thinking? You choose a race to go and watch your husband race for the first time. This is not a bad
It's
point.
a good one. It's a good one. It's a good one.
I wonder what his kids are going to say later today. Oh, Dad, it was okay. It was pretty good.
We see all the Kenyan flags here. This is such a big moment for Kenya, for East Africa, and it's incredible that we're watching this supreme athlete from Kenya do this on the world stage.
There they are. His children watching on with great pride. And I wonder what Eliud is thinking as well, because anybody who's a parent knows that it makes a difference. It makes a difference to see and do something in front of your children. So it's been extraordinary here. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage from the commentary box. Thanks very much to Ed Caesar and to Shalane Flanagan. Brilliant insight and analysis as always. The celebrations, I'm sure, will last long into the night. We're going to repair somewhere for breakfast, but Gabby, he's done it, and now he can party on the Prater.
Chris Dennis, thank you so much. Shalane Flanagan, Ed Caesar, excellent work there in the commentary booth, but look at these scenes out here. I can't tell you the joy that is radiating from all of the pacemakers, the iNEOS team, everyone who has made this possible. His coach Patrick he's been with since he was a young boy, grew up in the same village, and these scenes are joyous out here. The family as well, Lynn, Jordan and Griffin, the children next to his wife Grace, just a little way away from us. They're kind of overwhelmed by what their father and husband has done. He has made history. He has joined a pantheon of greats, humans who push the limits, and to be here amongst this crowd and see the reaction of people who are here is just a special, special moment, a real privilege to see and feel the atmosphere here. There's a scrummage of photographers. They're all desperate to get the shot that they know will be the shot of their lives, potentially. And amongst that throng, just near me here, is Radzi Chinyanganya, who is eventually going to get his microphone under the nose of Eliud Kipchoge. And you can see here Fran Miller bringing him forwards, and there is Eliud Kipchoge walking just past our commentary and studio position. He's heading over here and may be able to get a little word. Oh, he's getting weighed. He's going to get weighed at the moment. This is such an important moment, obviously, for the team to get all his details, get all his data in. And Radzi's just next to us here as well. Eliud's doing the important science. He's obviously got to get that data in. They need this. They need to make sure they know all the details. They've got all of the information going forwards, because Eliud Kipchoge will no doubt have another marathon to run. And he hugs team members of iNEOS. He has the flag, the Kenyan flag, aloft and hugs more team members. Fran Miller there. An absolutely wonderful scene. Radzi's going to get his microphone in under his nose, I'm sure, any moment now, and we'll hear the thoughts of Eliud Kipchoge. He's a quiet man. He doesn't say a lot, but when he does, it is thoughtful, it's considered. He's such an intelligent figure, a real thinker of running. And there he is now with Radzi. Hi, Eliud. Radzi's good to see you, Eliud, but Radzi's going to have a chat with you.
If you want to come on this side, Eliud, if we come this side, you have just made history.
Yes.
You've become the first man to ever run a sub 2-hour marathon. You've done it.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I am feeling good. It has taken 65 years for a human being to make history in sport. After Roger Bannister made history in 1954, it took another 63 years. I tried and I did not get. Now it's 65 years. I have tried. I'm the happiest man to run under 2 hours in order to inspire many people, to tell people that no human is limited. You can do it. I'm expecting more of the athletes in this all of the world to run under 2 hours after.
I mean, what incredible words. Inspiration doesn't do it justice. How hard was that run? How were you feeling at the most painful part?
Actually, I can't say and I can't define, but the first thing is when I woke up at 4:50, to actually the starting time, that's 8:15. It was my hardest times even before the start. The time actually it was 4 hours, but it was like 30 minutes, so it was the hardest times. But all in all, the race is actually the first kilometer is really hard the way it is. It needs actually the perseverance, it needs dedication, it needs the hard run. Yes.
Your pacemakers were fantastic, start to finish as well.
Absolutely. Remember, the 41 pacemakers are among the best athletes ever in the whole world. From the Matthew Centro, it's the one of the world Olympic champion for 1500, to all the marathoners and everyone, they are the best. I can say, I want to say thank you for them. I want to appreciate them for accepting to do the job. And together, it is not, I am not Eliud Kipchoge, we made this together in this one.
Eliud, to see the reaction that you had, especially from Kenya, with you growing up with a single parent mother, you're a proud member of the Talai clan. What does this mean to Kenya especially?
It means a lot to Kenya. I wanted to run under 2 hours in order to tell Kenyans that everybody can step out of his store and actually think positively, do what's required by a human being to do, and all of them can earn a good life. And together, you can make this wall a running wall. And after making a running wall to this wall, you can make this wall a beautiful wall and a peaceful wall.
It's a genuine joy talking to you. It'd be remiss of me not to mention your wife and your 3 wonderful children as well, though.
Actually, my wife and my 2 children are giving me more support. I'm happy for them to come and witness the history. They will be among those who made the history. I am happy for them.
And just finally, Eliud, what image would you like us to take away from this? You genuinely made me cry watching you cross the finish line. What would you like us to remember about this?
Actually, I want to say the positivity of sport. Actually, I want to make the sport a clean sport. I want to make sport an interesting sport whereby all the human beings can run, can wake up very early in the morning, to run. And together when we run this wall, we can make this wall a beautiful wall. We can kick away most of the diseases by just running. It will be a beautiful wall.
It's a privilege talking to you. It was a privilege watching you run. And on behalf of every athletics fan around the world, yes, thank you very much.
Thank you too. Thank you very much. Thank you to the whole world. Thank you to those who watched me through Facebook, those who watched me through YouTube, those who watched me live. And I can say, actually, I am appreciating your time that you sit behind your TVs, behind your mobile phones, behind everything, even following through Twitter and everything, that you have made history together, and together you can make this wall a beautiful wall. Thank you very much.
Eliud, you were great before. You are now an icon. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Immortal, I think. And when he says takes the time to watch me, well, you've made it a little bit less than it ever was, Eliud Kipchoge. And I think you can add to Radzi's words, it's not just athletics fans. I think it's human beings who are in awe and enamoured and impressed by what we just saw. But there's one man that knows him perhaps better than any, and that is his coach, Patrick Sang. And Crystal is with him out in the throng.
It takes a team. Patrick Sang, you're at the heart of that team that made this possible. Right now, your feelings in words, can you describe it to us? It's been 17 years in the making.
I'm still in the moon. I'm here to come down to heart. Really excited. Happy for him, for what he has achieved. He's actually inspired all of us that we can stretch our limits in our lives, and we can do more than we think we can do.
What was the first thing that you said to him as he crossed that line?
I said, congratulations, you've done it, and you've made history. Yeah.
Was there ever any doubt, and what was it like actually watching it from the sidelines, knowing that you've done all the work you could have done?
I watched the race from the pacers tent, and I saw the spirits of the pacers, and I watched the race, the changeover and all that. Everything went perfectly right.
What do you think this means, not only for Eliud, but for the rest of humanity?
For the sport, it's challenging other young athletes and athletes that are still active, that they can stretch and perform better than they think. For the humanity, whatever level you are in, you can move yourself to another level.
And finally, what of that time, and can that be broken?
Of course, Eliud has told us that the records are meant to be broken. So I'm sure down the road somebody will come again and say, I want to try it. But history has been made. The first time to run under 2 hours, it's unbelievable.
What a moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for all the people who came to watch, the supporters who came from all over the world to watch. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I'm delighted to say that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has joined me just outside of the studio because you've got to go off and do the presentation. This was Eliud's dream, but it was your dream as well. What does it feel like to see it come into fruition?
It's sensational, really. It's quite difficult to believe it's actually happened because it happened so quickly. But that last kilometre, where he actually accelerated and he came through on his own, it was superhuman, really. I can't believe he did it. I can't believe he ran the first half. He ran the first half marathon in less than an hour, and then he had to do that again.
The mind boggles for anybody who's just a normal human being, and these guys aren't. But the pacemakers, the technology, and everything that you have added into this mix, to see it come off today.
It's been immaculately well organised. Everything has to go right to do this. But I think it's so nice to see the pacers being part of this, because normally running is such a solitary sport. You run for yourself, and here they're all running for someone else, and they are just so full of enthusiasm. These, the pace guys are all world-class athletes. They're the best athletes in the world, and they're all running for Eliud. They've never done anything like that before. It's almost like a new sport for them,
Congratulations. I know you've got the presentation to do as well. Thank you so much, Jim, and well done. And well done to you and all of your team, because this is the feeling today, actually, that Jim's right. It's a solitary sport, but today was about being part of a team, whether it was the pacemakers, Shalane, or all the people, Ed, who've been involved in this. And I think that has come out in the feeling in this crowd.
Well, I'm still shaking from the performance. I think everyone is either weeping or shaking and crying. It's been incredible.
The image that I'll remember is of him coming up the final straight with the other pacers cheering and whooping behind him. This was one guy being propelled, really. He had to do it himself, but he couldn't have done it without the rest of them. So,
well, the presentation is going to be a trophy, which obviously is a one of a kind, really, because guess what? Nobody's ever had the sub-2 hour trophy before, and I think it's really more of a symbol. It's a symbolic gesture to Eliud, and I know that later today he will take his pacemakers and he will present them with trophies and awards as well, because he realises just how important they were, not just in setting the pace, but in boosting his morale and keeping him going when it got a little bit tough for him out there. It didn't appear to get massively tough because he hides it well, as we know. But he really is a team man, and he's enjoyed the camaraderie of everybody with him.
We actually thought that he went through a bit of a sticky patch, in the middle there, and he really had to talk himself out of it. So,
well, we have witnessed history. It has been an incredible 2 hours here in Vienna. You were part of history. Goodbye. So we are here in the, it feels a little, I was going to say the calm after the storm, but I don't think it has calmed down yet, has it, Shalane and Ed Caesar? It feels like there is just this incredible energy out here, because the crowds are staying. They haven't dissipated, they haven't gone away when they've seen that incredible landmark broken, that 2 hour marathon broken. They've stayed to enjoy the celebrations. There's been a celebration there where Eliud Kipchoge, being held aloft by his pacemakers, has been presented with a trophy by Sir Jim Ratcliffe of iNEOS, and these will go on. Last night when I was with Sir Jim and Dave Brailsford, they told me that, I said, what are you going to do tomorrow night? What are you going to do tomorrow afternoon? They said, well, actually, Eliud really wants to give his pacemakers something to mark this occasion. And you got the sense of a community of running, Shalane, didn't you, this afternoon, or this morning when you were out there? We've been up so early. I'm not quite sure what time of day it is.
Yeah, Eliud is all about, the team and contributing to the world and to other people. He's always running for something bigger than himself, and, that just goes to show right here. This picture encapsulates that. He is all about thanking and appreciating the people that have given to him for this performance today.
absolutely fine.
Yeah, I was thinking about, just in front of our commentary box, Peter, his longtime master, his physio, who has hurt people very deeply with his thumbs over the years, was in floods of tears, this big, strong man. And I thought, what it must mean to someone who's actually worked with him for such a long time to see this moment.
And his children. I mean, it's incredible to think that his wife and family have never been to any of his marathons, never been to any of those big city races or his world record. And for them to be here today, well, if you were going to pick one, this would be it. And for them, you know, he's daddy to them. He's a daddy who runs. So when they see the crowds here adoring him, but knowing that they're a beautiful moment with Chris Froome, and he's obviously part of Team iNEOS and comes from the world of cycling, he knows just what pain is all about. He knows how hard it is to push yourself through those moments. And there was that lovely bond there, a lovely cuddle between the pair of them. But the Kenyan flags that have been out here today, and not just Kenyan flags, I mean, there have been people from all over the world. The farmers, you mentioned Gold Coast earlier on. A lot of people come from the States as well.
Yesterday we bumped into a lovely family that traveled all the way from Utah, from Park City, Utah, to be here. And I said, why'd you travel all this way? And they said, because we want to be here for history. We want to be here for Eliud.
They're the children, Eliud's children, who his sons look slightly kind of bemused. What's going on? What is this all about? Well, you will know, kids, when you are older, and you will see that your daddy, well, this moment is up there, isn't it? It is up there with the likes of Roger Bannister. It is up there with the first steps on the moon. We are talking human endeavour and breaking barriers that well, they weren't predicted to be done for another 15 years or so in the projections that scientists made. But scientists and very clever people around Team iNEOS made sure that he had the conditions and everything was perfect. But actually, what they couldn't determine was the weather. And we didn't expect the fog, and we didn't expect the damp, and we didn't expect the humidity today. And maybe that was another 10 or 20 seconds off the time.
It certainly wasn't absolutely perfect, but it's one of, you know, it's a sport, and it's not a scientific experiment, and things go wrong. And you know, he had to really talk himself through some tough times there. It was not a walk in the park. We're in a park, but he was really hurting. You could see that he was hurting, and he hurt a lot earlier than I thought he was going to. He had to talk himself out of a really sticky patch.
And yet, Shalane, when he crossed the line and then he sprinted back and starts high-fiving people, it just shows you the euphoria. If anybody's thinking about starting running, that euphoria and those kind of bursts of hormones and energy and everything that comes with feeling great when you run, that was it right there.
Yeah, you know, if he hadn't broken 2 hours, I don't know you would have seen him sprinting around like that, you know, but he achieved this lifelong goal, and that euphoria carried him and gave him the energy to give the high fives, run up and down the road. I mean, I was chuckling. I couldn't believe after that type of a athletic feat that he could have the energy, but it's truly that surge of energy of just having this accomplishment to his name.
I've not seen anything quite like it with the photographers. They're going again, the photographers, as he comes back over. They were kind of fighting with each other. It was like a scrum. It was like a proper paparazzi scrum, because they know what they're seeing is just incredible, and they are privileged to be here. Let's take a little look back, shall we, guys, at the last kilometre, which was this is where the celebrations truly started, Shalane.
He's truly racing against the clock and running towards history, and it was so fun to just see him in absolute full flight, no one blocking him, and to see his beautiful form that he has, and to see his wife waiting for him at the finish. It was just clear running, and you could just see the joy emanating from his body that he was going to achieve this goal.
Yeah, the moment for me was absolutely priceless. Was when everyone split, and you could just see them in the background, like raising their arms and cheering him on. That was the moment where you felt this was really going to happen. And there were people down here at the finishing line, they're still there, like who'd climbed up trees and, you know, done whatever they could to get the best vantage point of that moment.
Well, my own personal travesty is that I forgot to press record. I was holding my phone, I was so emotional, and so I have nothing. Nothing but wonderful memories, and I'm pretty sure we might have pressed record on the production today.
I'm sure.
So I'll go back and watch it again and again. But it was there was just a sense and kind of collective and a community intake of breath, because everybody here knows that they have witnessed something truly special. And as you say, when they peel away in a few moments' time, the pacemakers, which was obviously a preordained, an orchestrated move, that this is the moment he will go, and this is his moment. And that was where it became like a racing kind of environment, but without anybody to race, just the clock. and it was all about the clock today. And he was getting the crowd going and he was whooping them up, but they didn't need to be whooped up because they were so with him and they were already at the finish line cheering and singing. We had some wonderful singing. Did you hear it in the commentary box? There was
No, we didn't hear the singing.
No, we had some fantastic Kenyan singing going on as well. There was a party atmosphere. And because of the fog, it's ever so slightly misty. It's even more evocative, isn't it? And the man emerging from the mist is the man who will go down in history, Eliud Kipchoge, and his official time of 1 hour 59:40.2. An incredible feat that all of this crowd here will remember for a very, very long time. Ed, you know, you've written so much in this area, you've researched in this area for so long, and we talked about the cynics coming into this who said, well, he's got pacemakers and he's having carbohydrates and he's doing, you know, things that you can't do to get an official IAAF world record. What do you think they're thinking now? They're surely, if they love this sport, they're feeling as joyous as everyone around here.
Well, I think that you couldn't help but be affected by the scenes that you're seeing, the joy, the evident joy. Now, what this performance will help to do, perhaps, is to bring the official world record closer to 2 hours. And one day we might get to see that as well. But you can't have that without this first. So this is the kind of pioneer moment, and then there'll be another pioneer moment. But what you have here is the real, this gorgeous feeling that running itself is very, very beautiful. So.
And there is the money shot, as they say.
Wow.
And his wife running out, Grace, there. He's behind us just now, actually. He's just come through the line again. And it's like reliving it all over. Because nobody, I think anybody here who hasn't had a cuddle is in line to get a cuddle. Everybody's hugging him. Everybody's cheering him on and giving him high fives. And the team members of Team iNEOS, who are wearing very distinctive jackets, all giving each other lots of cuddles and hugs. Because although this has been almost a year in terms of conversation, it has been about 5 months of absolutely every day back-breaking work in getting this here. The project managers working out everything from making sure that the course was 26.2 miles exactly. You know, you think about if it had been a metre short, it wouldn't count, you know. So all those things, all those details, making sure that every single part of his preparation was perfect. The lead up this week, of course. You can imagine that, you know, that's a lot of people to make that come off.
And it's a lot of pressure for Eliud, knowing all these people are helping him. It uplifts him and it makes him want to work hard and dig deep for all those people. But it's also, yeah, a big team behind him. Thousands of people are here to make sure every detail is just perfectly orchestrated.
He would not have wanted to let down anybody today. You know, everyone's turned up for him, and he didn't want to let anyone down, and he certainly didn't. Look at that now. That's such a nice moment.
Now, the question that Radzi, I mean, it was an emotional time at post-race, and of course, it's not the question that first comes to mind, but the question I'm going to ask you two that we didn't hear, do you think he has one more big marathon in him? Has he got an Olympic Games in him? I mean, you would not forgive this man for turning around today and saying, guys, I'm done with running 26.2.
Yeah, we believe
we think he's got the Olympics. So my feeling is that one of the great African running heroes, Baby Bikila, won 2 gold medals, and he wants to do the same in the marathon. He wants to win back-to-back gold medals, and then I think you could comfortably say, put your feet up, you know, enjoy the farm, you know, spend some time with the kids.
There are loads of running legends around here, but one of those, Kipketer, is with Radzi. Let's hear his thoughts about what we've just seen.
From near and far, I think you've all made this experience as special as it was.
In the 800 metres indoors, it still stands. David Rudisha broke the outdoor one, but Wilson, as a world record holder and a Kenyan one at that, what did you make of what Eliud just did?
No, it is one, I think, you know, thinking about my world record, making a history, but this one is really a big history. Running a marathon, the speed Eliud was going, you know, is unbelievable. I cannot even describe, because today I was crying. You know, I've been there in that stress, but being here today and witness this record, you know, unbelievable. You know, I have no word to say, because I know Kipchoge, I have seen him, and I'm here to see the history being made today, so it's unbelievable for me.
Because you know him personally, what can you tell us about his character that results in what we've just seen?
The way I see his character, you know, it reminds me when I was training, you know, concentration, training was nothing else, you know. It's only running, staying even at the training camp, no driving, You eat, you sleep, you train, you sleep. And that's really, the person I miss to see so many athletes to do what Eliud is doing. And being in Eldoret, going in the kaptagat training camp and watching him training there and seeing him being humble and down to heart.
Right.
So that's really, he touched me. This person, he knows what he's doing and he wants to make history in the world.
Because he makes it look so easy, you almost don't realise that it's difficult. Could you describe how difficult it is to take your body to that place and stay there?
For me, I was surprised to see him running, let's say, every kilometer in 250. I think I cannot make it that even if I have to run only 800 meters. So staying in that really is a mental part of it. This one is you train day in, day out. Even when you're sleeping, it's like you're calculating. Every time you're eating something, it's like you're counting, how many spoons you are taking. So it's really a big concentration. It takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of time.
Wilson, it's a special day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, Eliud, in his interview earlier, talked about inspiring people to run and inspiring people to do things that they never thought possible. And the running community, of course, will be loving this. But I think it also transcends, doesn't it? And people thinking, yeah, do you know what? I can do that part run or something. You start off small and you build and you build. And that is the message of any athlete's career.
Yeah, that would be a very, very positive outcome of this whole event if more people just went running once a week or something like that. That's what he's interested in. That's what he wants to use his new prominence for. He wants more people to take more exercise. He wants to make it a running world. That's what he says.
What would you like to see, Shalane, be the legacy of what we've experienced here in Vienna?
I hope that the future generation is inspired and motivated to go chase that audacious goal. When he set this goal of breaking 2 hours, it seemed absolutely audacious. I didn't believe it could happen within my lifetime. And so I think whatever people have that they're dreaming of that seems audacious, just go for it and to just see if it's possible. You may not make it, but just the journey of trying to make that achievement is worthwhile.
Shalane, Ed, thank you so much. It's been wonderful sharing this fantastic experience with both of you. And of course, Crystal and Radzi are still out there as well. One man has done what many thought impossible. He has broken barriers that are akin to a 4-minute mile, putting a man on the moon. He's done it with a lifetime of endeavour and hard work. And that man who's made history today is Eliud Kipchoge. Goodbye.
Kenya, the first major assignment. Ni moto. Ilifika mahali kikazimika by the way.
John amesemaje?
Make sure it's off.
To watch or to see the kind of people who are here, thousands of them, without minding where they're coming from, the tribe, what you are doing here. So he never only united Kenyans only, but he also united the entire world. So their citizens are saying maybe Kenya or residents or politicians should also emulate